Okay, so I started recording this session to be able to upload it to YouTube to show the others how to set up ATAS. We covered some basics last time, and I'm going to show you some improvements. First of all, I turned off the... Oh, sorry, this is something different. I turned off the panel at the bottom of the screen. I don't need it. It's for the scrolling of the chart. You can scroll it this way, but I showed you that when you click and drag the mouse, then you can scroll much faster. I will also get rid of this profile on the left. I will click it at this dot in the middle, and I will remove it, like so. And now we can start working. We have a DOM depth of market indicator on the right, which we don't need. So I move my mouse to this part of the screen, to the upper left corner, and the list of the indicators appear below the information about open, high, low, close volume of the candle I'm above. So this is the indicator, depth of market. I can hide the list of the indicators, then the number shows how many indicators are currently placed at the chart. I see that there's just one indicator. And when I open it again, I can either hide the indicator by clicking at the eye icon. I can completely remove it by clicking at the close X icon, or I can set the preferences for this indicator. We don't need it, so I will get rid of the indicator. Now we have a clean chart. And before we move any further, I will describe you basically the menu of the chart. This is crucial. I told you last time that we have a list of the instruments here. When I click it, I can choose the instrument which I'm going to use for the analysis and which I can certainly trade. When I click at Open Instrument Manager, I can add some instruments to my favorites, or I can remove them from the favorites. That's the first tab. This is, by the way, the system in ATAS. It heavily uses the tabs, or basically, well, tab is the correct word. You see that there are favorites and then there are all instruments. If I wanted to display, for example, I think I removed it last time. I hope so, actually. Just a second, I'm looking for that. Yeah, there's Dow Jones. This is Dow Jones. When I click and drag the instrument, I can sort it the way I want. So I will move it at the basically bottom of the list, below S&P, micro S&P, NASDAQ, micro NASDAQ. And as you can see, I miss here micro Dow Jones. So I need to go to the instruments and search either by the ticker, which will be MYM. I know the instrument, I'm familiar with that. Or I can simply write Dow. And all of a sudden I see all the Dow Jones. Dow Jones. Yeah. No, Dow Jones. I think that wasn't the cleverest choice. DX feed, no. Okay, wait a second. How is it? MYM. Oh, E-mini Dow. Okay, it's E-mini Dow. Anyway, when I click at the star, I will favorite the instrument so that it appears in the list among the favorites. I don't need to go to the all instruments next time, search for that, and so on and so on. I will just click it, go back to favorites. It's at the bottom of the list, and I can sort it so that it makes sense. Now I placed it below Russell, which is not the correct place. I will place it below E-mini Dow. Now I've got E-mini Dow and I've got micro E-mini Dow. Okay, let's open Dow Jones, whatever. So I double clicked the chart. Now we see some basically slightly chaotic candles because I zoomed in and I turned off the automatic scale. I need to go to the price axis and double click it. Well, I think maybe there's another way. Yes, there's another way. When I click the price axis and drag it, then I zoom again, and basically I need to fix this, and fix, starting with F, is here. The very tiny letter in the upper right corner, F, which means auto scale is disabled. Click to enable it. So I can either double click at any place, any part of the price axis, or I can click the F letter, and voila, we are zoomed out perfectly so that it matches the high of the candles at the chart and low as well. When I click and move the chart to the left, and there's all of a sudden lots of space, I can either manually move it like so, or I can use this arrow. This arrow basically moves the chart to the right. Now, I will describe all the menu at the chart, and then I will show you, we go through the chart settings, which are even for fine-tuning a lot of parameters. So, the next in the menu is time frame, currently 5M. And when I click it, the time frame of the chart. When I hover above a particular time frame, it shows me the number of the days to download. For example, daily. I move the mouse at daily and keep and stay still, so to say, and it says loaded days 200, which means when I click it, we will see 200 candles of Dow Jones at the daily chart. So these are 200 candles. If we want to make the chart faster, we can certainly reduce the number of the candles to be loaded. If I want to see more than 200 days, I can extend the number, increase the number. However, I told you last time, and I can show you today, that there's a disadvantage in performance, obviously, because currently there are 200 candles. But imagine you had 1 minute candle, which is 60 candles within an hour, let's say 1200 candles a day, and you load 100 days. That would mean that ATAS has to download, display, and calculate 120,000 candles. So this is really important to somehow think about it. Otherwise, it can really overwhelm the platform. So I will show you how to reduce the amount of the numbers, because certainly the indices are at all-time high. So it doesn't make any sense to load, for example, 1,000 days. That's obvious. I would even say that it's okay to start here, because from here on to current candle, I will zoom a little in, you can measure the price, you can measure the number of the candles, the period, and so on by clicking the wheel at your mouse and dragging the cursor. This is a little hidden function, because you need to click the mouse wheel, neither left nor the right mouse button, but the wheel at the mouse. So I keep staying at this candle. I click and hold the wheel at the mouse, and I basically scroll above the candles. And now I got that information window which tells me the price difference was 1747. This is the difference between the open of this candle and current price. It's 1385. Ticks, well, because Dow Jones is in ticks, the same like price, obviously, so it's 1385 a day. Bars, 48 bars, which mean 48 trading days. Certainly not calendar days, because Saturday, Sunday, there's no traffic at the exchange. So these are 48 candles, mean 48 trading days. Time, 66. What? 66? 66, I don't know, days? Yes, this is time in calendar time. Yes. Minus 6K delta. This is the difference in delta, volume 4 million, and P&L. If you opened one contract at this level and kept it until current price, you would have earned $6,975. This is great for measuring, for example, stop loss, target, and so on and so on. Why I was doing that? Because it's obviously not... Okay, we can be careful, let's say, the price can be crazy. I can measure it up from here to down. This is 6%, this is 8%, this is 10%. So let's say, okay, hypothetically, can the price fall here? So I will measure it up, and these are 74 bars, so I can load 75 days. I will mark this. I know the shortcut, there's no need to remember that. And now I will load 75 days. Means I went back to the time frames, and I will uncheck auto here. This way, I can enter how many days I want to load or the period. I will show you. We can, for example, visualize last year from January the 1st, 2024 to December the 31st, 2024. But I am going to load 75 days, like so. And as you can see, my estimation, measuring, and so on was spot on. There are 75 candles, which means I can delete the vertical line and keep just the chart. So this way you can adjust the number of the days and the period. Let me show you the other option. I will click at this checkbox. Basically, it's a checkbox, so to say. And I will click here. And at the calendar, I can click at March. Oh, wait, what was the function? No, I need to click at this arrows. I will select January the 1st, but not 2025. But my dog is stepping at the keyboard and turning off the screen. So. Yes, when I click here at the 2025, I can select the years. So I select 2024, January the 1st, it's okay, until the December the 31st. Oh, sure, I selected here the date. Why? So again, I think I don't remember this exactly. Never mind. Now it's okay. First, 24. May, December 31st. Okay, like so. From the January the 1st, 2024 till December the 31st, 2024. Apply. And I've got 365 candles in a moment. It's downloading the data. And yeah, there are 300. I can measure it again with the mouse wheel, like so. As you can see, there are 364 days, which means 259 candles as said, because we don't trade on weekends, obviously. The next here is the number, the amount of contracts. When I click here, I can select how many contracts am I going to open. when I open it up. So I can change it from 1 to basically whatever, what's here defined, predefined. Here I can choose the candle type, not just candle types, but basically what I see, if candles or something else instead of candles. These are candles. I can choose the bars. It was popular in the last century, at the end of the last century, I think. Transparent candles, which are hollow candles. I can choose also the line chart, just the line. Somebody likes that because they see just the price development. I will adjust the chart so that we see it nicely, like so. And again, clicking at F makes it nicely adjusted in a vertical, at the vertical axis. And we have got also clusters, which means footprints. We can go to footprints by clicking Shift-K or clicking at clusters here or zooming in. Then there's area, and we can hide the candles, which is also useful when you use, for example, market profile and you don't want to see the candles, so you just hide them. So I go back to candles, and I told you last time that the best way to zoom into the cluster chart is literally zooming in. So I'm using again the scroll wheel at my mouse, and I simply zoom in. And all of a sudden, we started seeing the clusters. However, we are the daily chart, obviously, so the candle is very high, the volatility is very high. Now I need to uncheck the period prior to selecting the time frame. If I clicked here at a 5-minute chart, I would have opened 5-minute chart for the entire past year, which is obviously not desirable. So I'm clicking at OK first, and then I click at 5-minute. And when I zoom in at the vertical axis, I start seeing the numbers. These are bits and asks, and by default, there's also the volume. I think it's a delta profile. Yeah, obviously, because 2311 more at the bit side, red. 441 more on the right side, blue. So zooming in and out, you just zoom into candles, basically to footprints, and out of the footprints into candles. Then we've got this drawing tool, the drawing tools, lines, shapes, tools for volumetric analysis, Fibonacci tools, Elliott waves, measurement. This is the ruler and the measure, but I prefer using the mouse wheel. It's much faster. Chart makers, not bad, like a dot, diamond, square, up arrow or down arrow. Let's say you wanted to stress out that this was important for you, so you click here and place the arrow. Then we've got long position, short position. Very, very, very useful tools. If you want to measure something, you can click at short position, place it, let's say, at the close of this candle. And when you click it again, you can adjust the stop loss and the target. You see that I wasn't able, basically, to stick the stop loss to the high of the candle. Why? Because there's at the very bottom of the drawing tools the magnet sensitivity. Currently it's at 0. It's at 0, so I will move it by the approximation. Doesn't matter, 1 centimeter to the right, and you can see the difference. Currently there's the magnet active, and when I move closer to the high of the candle, it gets automatically stuck to the high of the candle. And I can measure it, I don't know, let's say to this low, and I see at the information window that the risk to reward ratio was 4.25, and I could have made 3600. Well, it's minus because it was short position. So, or I can double click it. And you see that stop loss was 36 ticks. So when I click, for example, to take profit and set it to 72, I get the risk to reward ratio of 2, obviously, and it looked like this. When I unclick it, I see just the short position drawing object or element. It's advisable to show you something here. I double click it again, and I can play with the transparency. We've got the area transparency here. See that? Currently at 7. And when I click here, I can use again my mouse wheel. I can scroll upwards or downwards and change the transparency. And I can also place it behind the chart. Because when I make it less transparent, now the transparency index is 2 only, then it's quite saturated or too strong, and I don't see the candles. So I click at behind the chart, and it's behind the chart. I see the candles. Let's say I'm satisfied with this settings, so I can click here, Save Template As, and save it like my, my settings. Like so. I click at Save, and here, now I have my settings. When I open it up, there's my settings. There's $350, I don't know why, from the past. I don't need it, so I will simply delete it. Yeah, I delete it. Then there's a default template, which looks like this. Then there's drawing position default short, which looks like this. I set it up before, but I got 0 values here, which is not desirable. I say, let's say 40, and let's say 80 here. And I can again save template as and save overwrite it. And this way I can select the templates even from the chart. When I click at the drawing object and I right click it, I can go to templates and select my settings. And this was the settings we saved before. So when I click the drawing object and either right click it and choose delete to delete it, or I click at it and press delete at the keyboard. It's much faster. I strongly recommend getting used to the shortcuts, at least for the very often used drawing tools. I remember, for example, I will show you. I remember, for example, F2. F2 is trend line. So I go here, click at F2 at my keyboard, and you see that there's a tiny dot at my cursor, at my cross line. So I click it here, I place the beginning of the trend line, and I will place it like so, let's say. Click again, and I placed the trend line at the chart. Again, basically every drawing tool has its settings. So I click the trend line, right click it to see the menu, and click at settings. It's useful because you can switch between trend line or array with the extension to the end, basically from the end point. I started drawing here, and I clicked here to place the trend line or to end the trend line. Therefore, array goes to the right. Or I can select here extend line, and then it is extended to both directions, to the left as well as to the right. So this is useful. This way I can move the entire trend line by the middle dot, and this way I will move just the starting and the ending point. Again, you can see that the magnet is still activated, so it nicely helps me with placing the end of the trend line at the very high of this candle. It works for high, open, close, and low. I'm still holding the left mouse button pressed, and I can basically just select it, high, open, close, low. Okay, it's useful. I can also change the color. I showed you last time that you can either use the pre-built palette, like so. I will choose the green color. I can click here and either manually enter the number and change the width of the line, or I can click here at these tiny arrows and change the width, or I can click here and use my wheel. This is very useful, very, very useful. If I'm not happy with the thickness of the... Basically, these are the candles where the line goes across them. It's above them. There are two opportunities what I can do. Again, place the line behind the chart, like so, and now I see the candles, or I can change the transparency by clicking the color and using this slider. I'm dragging and dragging the arrows, so to say, to change the transparency of the color. If I don't like the color, if I want something special, I want, let's say, very ugly magenta color, so I click at More Colors, and I can enter the RGB values or CMYK values, HLS or HSB values. I like using RGB, and I remember that my ugly magenta is 255, 2550. It's not red, green, not green. Green is 0, and this is 255. And I've got the ugly magenta color here. I can also change the transparency here, by the way, to, let's say, 200. I don't see the changes until I click at OK. Now I started seeing the changes, and this fantastic thing in More Colors, this tool. When I click it, I can change any color at my screen, not even in ATAS. If I want to, I need to press the cancel key, okay, like so. I can open, wait, I need to find, okay, I will show you here. This is my drawing tool, yeah? And when I go to colors and More Colors and click at the color selection tool, check this out. I can even select the colors from the other application, not just ATAS. I like, for example, this blue color. I click, and now my line became cyan because I used the color from this drawing tool, which is great in my opinion. I use it from time to time. Now you can change the style of the line from solid to dash to dot to dash dot to dash dot dot and that's it. You can end the line as arrow, start the line as arrow, and so on, and use alerts. I will describe the alerts with this tool. However, I'm going to make the line thinner. Yeah, need to think about it. Like so, solid. And I click here, use alert. Then I can set the alert for the trend line. I can use a cross alert, which means the price has to break through the level. Not come close to the level, but basically break the level. So this is interesting for let's say, liquidity sweeps. I will remove the drawings. I will turn off drawing tool. I will close this, and I will show you what's meant by this. I will place the trend line here. When I click and hold the shift key, then it automatically switches by 44 degrees, which is great for drawing. When I want to make nicely horizontal line and not judging, oh, am I here, am I not? I just press the shift key and that's it. So I place the I will show you something slightly sophisticated. I will draw a line like this, but I don't know when the price approaches this area. So I right-click it, go to Settings. I will change it to Ray from Trend Line. Now I've got the line going to infinity. And if the price reaches the level tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, which is impossible because it's Saturday, or next week, next month, next year, it's still there. And I can still set the notification and use Cross Alert, which is great. Like I mentioned already, I want to see the liquidity sweep. So I'm not interested in this. I'm not even interested in double top. I want to see breakthrough. And then I can think about seeing the entry confirmation and enter the trade. But I want to get notified as soon as I am, let's say, 3 pixels away from the trend line. So I will check Use Cross Alert, and I will set here the approximation filter. I check here. Why it's not possible? 3 and Cross Alert, and this should basically get fired as soon as the line gets broken. I receive the alerts when chart is closed. Obviously not when ATAS is closed, but when this chart is closed. So the drawing is basically in the workspace saved, and ATAS pays attention to this line even though this chart is not open. Let me repeat this again. Not when ATAS is not open, but when the chart is not open. ATAS has to be running, otherwise you don't get notifications, obviously. Unlike, let's say, TradingView, which is a web application, it runs in the browser as well, so it's cloud application. ATAS is a local installation, and therefore you are not able to get the notification when ATAS is not running. You can forget this. This is not important. This is for the alert window. But what is important, you can change the name of the alert. For some reason, there's not the drop-down list. There's just alert. You can change it to alert 2, because I know there's the alert 2 wave file. So I switched it to alert 2. Let's keep it alert 1, and you get notified. That's it. Save as template, delete the line, make it global. Very, very, very important thing, and basically a great bridge for me, so to say. I will uncheck it. I will keep the line at the chart, and I will delete this diagonal line. Now, I can certainly arrange charts in ATAS. Let me switch to my control panel. This is the ATAS control panel. This is the ATAS control panel. I can open a new chart by clicking at Chart here, then select Dow Jones, and so on, but I get the default ATAS chart. If I'm happy with these settings, what have I done? Basically nothing. Anyway, what I do, this is my routine, this is my workflow. I right-click the chart, I like right-clicking the chart and going to duplicate, clone window. It's here in the menu, clone window. And this creates one-to-one copy of the window. See that? And you might have noticed when I drag the chart, there's this middle cross here in the middle of the chart below. And it shows me when I drop the chart here, then it gets to the right part of the chart and create a cascade, so to say. When I place it here, then I get 2 charts over each other. I mean, the first one at the top of the screen, the second one in the bottom, with the chart at the background being below in the bottom. If I want this chart to be at the bottom of the screen, then I place it here and release the mouse button, or I can place it to the left. Or I can create, just a second, I will stop the recording and answer the phone, just a sec. Let's continue. I continue the recording. And where was I? Yeah, the last possibility is to release the button in the button at the mouse in the middle of this cross. And then I create a tab. I will show you the tabs later. So I will place the chart on the right, and now I have two charts. I will delete the line here because I want to have the line at the left chart only. I can certainly change the ratios for the windows. Now it's almost 1:1. Now I prefer the right chart over the left one, and opposite, the left chart is obviously bigger. I showed you the global. What does global mean? It's quite obvious. Global makes the drawing object global. So I click at the line, I right-click it, and I click at global. And pay attention to this high, because this high is this high. And when I make the line global, it appears on my right chart. Check this out. Clicking the line, selecting it, clicking it with the right button to get the menu, and selecting global. And we've got the line on the right chart. What is crucial? It's important to have the same instrument, because this is Dow Jones on the left, and when I select micro Dow Jones here on the right, by double-clicking it in the instrument list, there's no line. There's no line because it's a different instrument. It's obviously the same level, but it's a different instrument. This is very important for the currency futures, which are very often close to the same levels, 1 point something and so on and so on. And I don't want to see levels from my 6A, which is an Austrian dollar, at the 6C, which is Canadian dollar. That's obvious. So that's why you need to have the same instrument. How you can make this happen? You can select it manually, or you can link the windows. When I click here at the very beginning, prior to to the left of the instrument selection, I can select the color here. I say that this chart will be represented by a red color. And now, wait, I will show you something else. I will choose the bonds or whatever ZS is. You see that the chart is entirely different, of course, because we've got the Dow Jones share index on the left and the bonds on the right. But when I link the window on the right with the window on the left by selecting the same group color, it changes to the same instrument, even the same, well, the same instrument, I mean, including the Z5, you know. So this way you can basically create the entire layouts and link the windows together so that you have the same instrument across your charts. And when I select here on the left, no matter, for example, crude oil, then the crude oil, we will see them on the left chart as well as on the right chart. This makes sense, obviously, not having the same chart on the left and right. This makes sense for having the 30-minute chart on the left and let's say 5-minute on the right with the same instrument. When I choose a different color here, let's say yellow, and change the instrument from crude oil to, for example, natural gas, then nothing happens, of course, because this is natural gas linked through the yellow color, and this is crude oil linked through a red color. Now, when I change the color from yellow to red here, I get the crude oil on the left. When I change the red color to yellow on the right, I get the natural gas on the right. Like so. It's okay. Now we've got the zoom. Here I can zoom. It's a magnifier, not zoom. It's a magnifier, and I prefer using the key M, like the magnifier, obviously. What is it good for? When I want to see what happened here at the bottom of the swing at the natural gas chart, I can either zoom into the clusters and see, oh, there was something happening on the right side, 123 contracts, 54 contracts, 7 contracts, or I can use the magnifier, which is even better because I don't need to zoom into the clusters and then unzoom back to the chart. I just press and hold the M key and I got the magnifier, the spying glass, obviously. And you see there's 123, 54, and 7 on the right side of the candle. And there's no need to zoom in out. I release the M key and I get rid of the magnifier. Then I want to see what happened here, for example. And again, I press the M key. There were 146, 144, 11. I release the key and the spying glass is away. So this is very useful function. However, I prefer using the hotkey to going to menu, clicking here, and so on and so on. Now, there are indicators. I showed you the indicators before. This is the list of all the indicators in ATAS, also grouped into some logical blocks. If I'm interested in, let's say, everything related to volume and order flow analysis, I click it. And these are the indicators related to volume and order flow, and I can use them. When I click, for example, at VWAP, it's here. I double click it and I place it this way to the chart. You may have noticed that it looks different compared to your VWAP placed right at the chart, because I've got here settings, my VWAP, and ATAS uses the latest template. So my latest template, which I use for VWAP, was my VWAP. Therefore, when I place VWAP again at the chart, I get it with my VWAP template. And again, I think there are some preference. This is the default. This is the default VWAP, how it looks like without the bands for the deviations, the first, the second, the third deviation, and so on and so on. The previous day POC is here. By the way, nice reaction. And I can use the templates. So when I click at my VWAP again, I get my preferred settings for that. So these are the indicators. Again, you can recall them by either going to indicators in the menu, right-clicking the chart and selecting indicators here, or when I move between the items in the list and I keep staying, I'll see that the short key for the indicator is Ctrl+I, which I remember and which I use because it's unbelievable fast. I will press Ctrl+I and I'm in the indicators selection. Then we've got the mouse, where you can change what you see, pointer, crosshair, or global crosshair. When I change it to pointer, then I've got no crosshair on the left. Obviously, I do have crosshair on the right because I change it only just on the left. When I select the crosshair again, I get the crosshair left and right. And I can select the global crosshair to get the global crosshair. So you may ask, why is not global crosshair on the right? Because I haven't selected it. You need to select it at both charts. And all of a sudden, I've got crosshair, which is synchronized at the price axis as well as the time axis. So this way, you can basically stay here and see at 30 minutes, this long candle, what did happen here. Oh, I see. There was a long candle here at 5 minutes as well, but then they started slowing down. to make this liquidity sweep by one tick. So I go back to cross line, selecting cross line, and we can change the way the mouse wheel behaves. Currently, there's zoom XY, which makes me zooming in and out at the time axis and price axis simultaneously. When I select scroll and use the mouse, then I scroll the chart, but I don't zoom at the price axis. I need to press and hold the shift key, I guess. Yeah, shift key. You see, shift key and scrolling makes it larger and smaller at the price axis. When I release the shift key, then the scrolling makes it scroll at the time axis. So this is the scrolling. And I can also use the zoom. I zoom at the x-axis, and by pressing the shift key, I zoom at the y-axis. I like using the zoom XY. It's somehow best for me. It's the fastest, most convenient way for me for using the zoom. And now we have the templates. It's a great, great thing because you can save all the chart settings as the template, you know, with all the indicators, all the chart settings, everything, even with drawings. But we don't call it template with drawings. We call it snapshot. Snapshot. What is the difference between templates? This is the template, and you see here this line. It's not very visible, but I'm talking about. Oops, disappeared. I cannot use it. I'm talking about this line. You see snapshots here. What is the difference? The difference is snapshot is template with drawings, with instrument, and with time frame. When I save something as the template, like so, clean ATAS chart, this is my preferred template, and I click it, I get my template for my chart with the color of the background changed, with the candles, with the candle colors changed, and so on and so on, even with the clusters. Now the cluster chart looks like this, and so on and so on. So this is saved as the template. If I used snapshot before, I got even the instrument saved, even the time frame saved, and the drawings, which is a little bit dangerous, or you have to think about it all the time, because it overwrites your existing drawings, which means it deletes, removes all your drawings, and loads the drawings from the snapshot. So this is a core difference between the template and the drawing, obviously. I've got AVE snapshot here. When I click it, I get the, oh, not the instrument. Oh, yes, the instrument. I thought so. I've got the instrument. It switched from the, oh, it's still NG. It's still there, but there are drawings, settings, and so on and so on. So it must have been 30 minutes because nothing happened. I will change to 5 minutes.
How did you get the numbers 3984 minus 1?
I will show you. It's an indicator called candle statistic. These numbers is an indicator called candle statistics. And I told you, then you got the not only the changes at the chart, but also your indicators. When I click here, for example, VWAP, this was my webinar for ATAS about VWAP. And when I click here, I get the chart with the VWAP, you know. But pay attention to this. There's the NG 5 minute because I clicked at template. But when I click at snapshot, then I got the 30-minute time frame, which is okay because I saved this template as snapshot, which includes, that was my intention, it includes also the time frame. So you can have several, when I want to see the
Is it all like custom made, or is it all like the standard ones?
There are some templates and snapshots in ATAS. When you fresh install the platform, you get a list of the useful templates and snapshots, but you can create your own and change the settings at the chart very quickly. As you can see, this is my predefined marked profile and the volume profile and the settings I like. Because when I go, for example,
So anything that we are seeing here on the screen right now, is it all made by you?
yeah. If you want me to, I can send it to you.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Okay with that. I don't mind.
That'll be a great start.
Yes. When you use it, when you click it like so, I know what happened. This template was intended for 1 minute chart to see the 30-minute market profiles. So the market profile is 30 minutes, but the TPOs are 1 minute. You know, I will send you my my templates. It's very useful.
Yeah,
There is what is FP plus VWAP plus SPH. I don't know. The linoscope, it's my indicator. You can click at heat map and you get the heat map, obviously. Volume candles, it's my setting as well. I can choose.
You want to show how to download the templates and how to
Yes. Okay, in this case, wait a second. I need to make some change here on my left screen so that I can explain you how to use that. I will make some small changes here. Okay. Templates and yeah, this is a good idea. Copy here. Okay, so I provided you, let's say hypothetically, I provided you with the templates so that you can use them. You click here at templates, at this icon, you go down at the bottom to settings, you click here the settings, and this is the list of all the templates I have installed, downloaded, created before. Some of them are favorite.
over the period of time.
Yeah, since, I don't know, 2022 maybe, when I started using ATAS. You see that some of them has star. Same like with the instruments. When I click the templates and snapshots, I've got the list of my favoritized templates, which I use from time to time. I was doing something here. I created this template with a different candle color, with a different background, and so on and so on. So this is my template. But when I go to settings, then there's a list of all the templates, even those which are not favoritized. These are from the past. I seldom delete the template because I can use it in the future and so on and so on. So you click at import here, being at the template tab, because there's a snapshot as well, and there's a difference between templates and snapshot, even with the file extension, you know. So when you accidentally click at the snapshot tab and click at import and want to import my templates, then you won't be able to do it, because snapshot is a different file extension. So you have to carefully check that you add the templates. Now I click at the import, I go to desktop, and I see my 1 minute NQ CTS, you know. So I click at it, open it up. Do you want to overwrite template because it's already at my chart? Among my templates is the same name. So let's do it the other way. I will rename the file at my desktop. You don't see it, but it's okay. Now I renamed it. I go to templates, import, and now there's new 1 minute NQ CTS. I import it, load template, new 1 minute NQ, no. but it's already in the list. And as everything in ATAS, it's at the very bottom of the list, so that you don't have to, oh, what was the name? Was it new 1M NQ or NQ new 1M or NQ 1M new? I don't know. You don't have to. You just go to the bottom of the list and there's new 1M NQ. I can star it again and favoritize, like so. And when I click at close, it will be at the bottom of the templates list. You are not able to move, you are not able to change the order of your favoritized templates. So I really did it one by one. I favoritized this one as the first one, this one as the second one, this one as the third one, fourth one, fifth one, and so on and so on and so on. So this is the latest favoritized template. It's a bit of effort, but you can create whatever you want. So when I click it, this is my 1 minute NASDAQ template. Now I can actually change something. Let's say I want a moving average at the chart additionally to the VWAP, which is obviously I see the VWAP. So I go to indicators. I search for EMA, which didn't work last time. I don't know why. EMA is here. I double click it and place it at the chart. I will fine tune it. I will change the period to, let's say, 100. And I will uncheck colored directions, and I will open these settings. I will change the color to, let's say, yellow. I'm selecting something what's not on the chart so that we immediately know what the EMA is. And I change the width to 5, let's say. And we obviously see what the yellow EMA 100 is. So I changed basically my chart, and I want to update the template. When I next time click here in the list at new 1 minute NASDAQ, I want it with the EMA, the new indicator edit. So I go to templates, settings. I have to find the indicator, the template name. Now I have to remember, obviously. It was new 1 minute NQ. And I see this is it because it's favoritized. And I need to click at save. And it asks me, do you want to override the template? Yes, I want. Now I click at close. I load a different template. This is a clean template without any drawing, any indicators, and so on and so on. And when I click now at new 1MNQ again, it will include the yellow exponential moving average. And when you want to share this template with a friend of yours, you go to templates, settings, you select the file. And
select all, right? Select all control.
You cannot. No, you can select one template only, one by one.
Not like all at a time?
No, you cannot. You need to go to a particular folder in ATAS and move the, sorry?
Zip it.
Yeah, then you zip it. This is what I will do. I will go to the template files, zip them, and send them to you. And
also, like, I do see something like MRO or some mirror or mirror.
oh, it's a name. It's a Czech name. It's a friend of mine.
MIRA.
MIRA. It's a Czech name. I don't know what this template looks like. Aha, he uses this horrible white system. I was probably updating his templates. He asked me to update his templates, so I saved them for next time. But it's a pain for the eyes. I prefer dark mode, dark charts, dark background, and so on and so on. So these are the templates.
I thought the mirror or something is an order block related template. That's what I thought.
It was order flow focused, order flow oriented, but the point is that Mira is a Czech name. And now we go to the left, to the right side of the chart. There's the scale. Scale is very important. I will show you something. I will go to NASDAQ. And you see that both charts changed. Oh, this is what I told you, and this is what I forgot. Look at that. There are 100 days selected, and there's 1 minute time frame. So at this moment, I loaded 120,000 candles because I'm dumb. I need to check auto. Now I can click at 3 minutes, and it's all of a sudden. Prior to that, it took some time. I was aware of that, but it was because I probably have something in the snapshot which changes also the time frames and so on and so on. I have a 3-minute chart, and when I zoom in to see the footprints, I see nothing. Which is obvious because NASDAQ is very volatile and there are very many levels between the high and the low of the candle. So I need to zoom in and zoom in. Now I see the candles. It's okay, but I have to scroll to see the top of the candle and scroll down to see the bottom of the candle. What I can do, I can aggregate the levels. I think that aggregating it by 2 will be enough. So I click at this icon, which is the scale. And now I can change it from auto to, let's say, 2. I click at apply, and you see that the size of the footprint changed. There are still, when I click, hold and drag the middle wheel at the mouse, there are still 64 ticks, there are still 64 price levels, but you see 32 numbers only. Because those 64 levels were compressed to 32 numbers. When I increase the scale to 4, I will mark the candle. By the way, this was the F7 hotkey, because I use F7 for the vertical line. So the hotkeys are really amazing feature. You don't have to go to the menu. Drawing toolbox, yes. Where are the lines? Here. Vertical line, here. You see, I've got a hotkey. I click F7 and I've got the F7 and I've got the vertical line immediately. When I go to scale again and increase the value to 4, then 4 price levels will be compressed to 1 price level. Pay attention to the height of this candle. I click at apply and look at the height. It's half in the size. But again, when I measure it up, it's still 64 ticks. Even though it's currently 16 numbers above each other because it got compressed by the ratio of 4. When I increase it to 16, then it gets compressed by the factor of 4 again. You see, now I see a footprint like this. I can again measure it up. I get again the 64 ticks. However, there are just 8. Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There are just 6 levels. However, obviously, it's obvious that the accuracy changed because now I see that the VPOC was here, but was it at 25,060 or 25,060.25, 25,060.50? Where was it? When I move the mouse, you see that I jump by 4 points, which are 16 ticks in NASDAQ. Why 16? Because I've got the 16 ratio in the scale. So I personally prefer using Auto 1, which means no compression. However, it's not easy to read the footprints, especially in NASDAQ. If you trade it, for example, UB, which is the Ultra Bond, which moves in 5 minutes by, 5 ticks, then you don't need to use any scale at all. However, I will get rid of the line and I double check the auto. When I go to Bitcoin, when I go to Bitcoin and I uncheck the scale, which was automatically set by ATAS to 100, it has some preferred numbers for the scale for the various instruments. When I change it to 1, I get a pure disaster because the footprints look like this at Nasdaq. Check this out. This is one 3-minute candle and its footprint, which is a pure disaster. You don't see anything. There are lots of zeros because the order book was probably empty. I don't know where we get this data from, but it's a disaster. So it's advisable having it set at auto, and ATAS know what to do. Now it shows a normal footprints and not that hell like before. Then we've got this camera, which is obviously, I can click the arrow, I can make a link, I can open the screenshot in browser, I can copy the image to send it to my friend, let's say over Discord, or I can download the image or publish it to some social media. When I click here, I get the full screen of that window, of that one particular window, not all the workspace, just one chart. I press the escape and I get back. Then I've got this question mark, which is the help, and I've got this wheel, this settings wheel. It's the same. Clicking here is the same like selecting from the menu. I right-click the chart, settings at the very bottom, or pressing Ctrl+S. I use Ctrl+S. This is my preferred method, but you can go here to the menu, and you can change some settings for the visual of the chart, like the color of the candles, color of the background, color of the crosshair, and so on and so on. You can change the parameters for the footprints at the second tab. I see that I use the bid ask and the additional footprint is delta with the volume profile, but I can change it to whatever. I can change it to, let's say, volume. Now, instead of bids and asks on the left, I see just the volume. And I have an additional footprint activated. I see this checkbox. I can open it up. And I see that I've got delta here. I can select bids asks to the right. Now I have a volume on the... This is the candle. This is one candle, yeah? And there's one footprint. This is a footprint number 1, and this is the additional footprint. Now I'm currently in the additional footprint, and I selected bid asks. Therefore, I've got here bids and asks. You know, if I change it to delta back, then I've got the delta on the right side, and I still have volume on the left side because it's selected here, volume. I change it back to bids and asks. This is what I like. There's the volume profile mode. I can change it to full row. Now I see the full row. It's not just the profile, but all the entire width of the left part of the footprint is filled with a particular tone by volume proportion. I can change it to delta, and then I have basically the identical information on the left and on the right, but with a different color. So it doesn't make any sense. I need to change it to traits, delta, solid. Solid looks like this. It shows nothing, of course. None, you can turn off it and see nicely bids and asks without any volume profile. You can even turn the borders on. When I go to, I change it to volume profile, you see that I see the borders instead of fills. But I like using the volume profile and the volume proportion, like so. And you can change the other things. This is the additional footprint. You can change the border type, what we see. Now we see the candles. You can change the text. The color of the text, if you want to see the text, you can change the color. I've got the gray color. I can change it to white color. Now it's annoyingly bright. Auto size. Auto size means when I zoom in and out, then the size of the text changes accordingly. when I change it from auto to something, show text, not auto size, I will uncheck it, and now I can change the size manually. I'm okay with this size, let's say. So I change it to 9, uncheck the auto size, and that's it. And cluster values divider, if there were huge numbers, I can change the divider. And width to show the text means how huge should the footprint be to show the text. Let me change this to 100, and all of a sudden I don't see any text. I need to zoom in, zoom in. Now the width of the footprint is 100 pixels. So I started seeing text. When I unzoom a little, I stopped seeing the text. I go back to, Ctrl+S. I go back to the settings. I will decrease it from 100 to 40. And I see the numbers. Now you can change the maximum volume, maximum level, which is the VPOC. Shows the volume. I also can show the traits. Nothing happened. Traits and volume is the same. Bits, it changed here. There's a different position of the bits. Obviously, this is the highest number for the bits, 15. When I change it to asks, then it changed because 29 is the highest number on the left. I can change it to delta, negative delta, positive delta. That's it. Volume is the most obvious choice. Obviously, that's VPOC now. I can change the border width. The width of the border. Sometimes it needs to recalculate or I don't know, whatever. And when I go back to the settings, I change it to at the cluster settings tab. That's important. I can change it back to something intelligent like so. Text color. I can change the text. I can change the border. I can change the border to white like so, to yellow like so, and I can also change the numbers to yellow. So I see that level immediately. Below it is value area. I don't use it. Somebody like using it so that you see the value area of each candle. Proportion settings, very, 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 very important thing. I know I said it probably 5 times, but it's okay. It's that important. Look at that. I will unzoom it a little, and you see the volume profiles at each candle. You see, I am talking about this. It's here is volume profile. Like so, there is the volume profile, and so on and so on. There is the volume profile. You see, it's not perfectly visible, but it's okay for the description. I will show you what the settings bar mean. When I go to cluster settings and scroll down, yep, here we are bar. I can change it to visible region, and I'll pay attention to these profiles which I drew here before. Yeah, when I change it to visible region, you see that something happened. What happened? Now the highest values are represented by the most blue color, but the highest numbers at the visible region. So obviously this candle was long. Therefore, there are more price levels, but these levels are smaller compared to something somewhere at this candle, probably, where's the most volume at the visible area. So the most volume at the visible area is represented by the color, and I don't see the volume profile of each candle, of course. I can change it to whole chart. When I have a 5-day history, then it finds the place with the most volume. This way, you can very easily and effectively find the areas with the most volume at the chart, but you don't have the proper information for each candle. So I personally like using bar, and I get the information of the volume and delta for each bar. Bitask imbalance, that's the imbalance, of course, and you can adapt filters. For example, values higher than, I don't know, 30 bits will be in magenta color. Asks higher than 100 will be in cyan color, and so on and so on. So this is it. And in trading settings, you can change what you see while trading. If you see your trades, which you've done today, previous trades, if you see the orders, waiting stop loss, waiting target at the chart, and so on and so on. So it's the third tab of the chart settings. I will remove the drawings. And I will show you today one thing. I'm talking already 1 hour 15 minutes, so I'm a little bit tired already. But this will be the last thing I will show you today. I will unzoom it a little. I won't forget. If I forgot to send you the templates, then please feel free to remind me, and I will send it to you. This won't be an intention. I just might forget. If I want to arrange more charts, so I right-click the chart, I go to clone window. This is the fastest way. And I place this chart here at this cross, which represents the right chart, and I release it here. And now I've got the system of 3 windows with 3 charts, which are all linked by the yellow color. Very, very important. Now I change the Bitcoin. I click at S&P, and I've got 30-minute S&P chart on the left. I've got 5-minute chart on the right, like so. And I will have 1-minute chart, but line chart on the right at the bottom. I don't like the color, so I go to the chart settings. I need to find the part for the line settings, which is here, you see, line chart parameters. I open it up. I replace the blue color by light blue color. All of a sudden it looks like this. I can even increase the width. Now it looks like this. And now this is my workspace. This is my working area. This is my working area. If I wanted to have candle 1-minute chart as well as the line chart, I will right click it, clone the window. I will prepare it here. I will change it to candles like so. And now I release this not at the bottom, not at the top, but in the middle of the cross. And this way I created a system of tabs. I have 1-minute chart on the left, I have 1-minute chart on the right, but this is the candle chart, and when I click this tab, it's the line chart. So you can either create a system of windows, or you can create a system of tabs. So you can arrange your workplace like this, and you can work with the entire system of the windows like so. You don't have to arrange the windows. If I want to rearrange it, I will rearrange it like so. It's very easy, very, very, very convenient. I like it. So I suggest quit for today, and we can continue next time.